Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I am your host Utkarsh Shukla, and let me introduce you to my guest Charlotte. Charlotte is coming again for the second time, so thank you so much, Charlotte, for this.
Thank you for inviting me back. I must have said something useful last time.
Yeah, so last time we covered your personal journey on how you end up being in the wellness coaching side. So let's discuss more about this, like how you set up this company and what are the routes on which this has been set up. So if you can just tell us, like, what was the main aim behind it and how things worked out.
Yeah, for sure. So let me give you a tiny bit of context. So, as you rightly said, I'm in the health and wellness space, and I've been in this space for a long time. And the reason for setting up the company in the first place was because the resources that we now offer were not available to myself and my husband, who's also my business co-founder as well, weren't available for us when we was experiencing a time in our lives where we needed it. So that was really the catalyst for us to launch this. And we specialize in stress relief and collaborative workplace wellbeing solutions. That's what the wellness theory does. And our mission is to help people realize when we're healthy and well, we can be a force for good in the world. So the catalyst was about solving a problem that was very much needed, and it still is needed. And how it came about is that we was just like, well, if we don't do it, who else is going to do it? So we sort of just saw it as a bit of a responsibility as well, to be honest.
That's really great. So what is the business model that you guys are following, like how you proceed or how you manage the client?
Yeah, so we have two arms to our business, right? So we have the coaching vertical of the business, and we have our collaborative workplace wellbeing solutions arm of the business. Now, we keep them relatively separate because the business models are slightly different. So for us, the business model for coaching is very much one-on-one coaching, and we have a few coaches that work with us. And when somebody comes to work with us, they will typically find us somewhere, maybe on a YouTube video, maybe on our podcast, because we also have a podcast. Maybe they do a quiz that we have, which helps people to understand how stressed they are. And then they'll find their way into our world. And then from there, they get to know us, they get to hear, learn, understand perhaps some of the things that we teach and see if we are a good fit for them. And then typically we'll have a call with them, and then they will come on a coaching journey with us. And that's for the one-on-one side of the business. And for the workplace well-being side of the business, we work predominantly on a contract model, but also on a partnership model as well. So we are experts in holistic wellness and stress relief and burnout prevention. We are not experts in all of the systemic core issues you find within organizational behavior. Now, we have a lot of experience in that space, but we partner with experts to come and deliver the pieces of the puzzle that we don't, and that we are not the best person to do that. So we team up and make sure that the client, the organizations that we work with, get all of the resources they need and make sure they get the best quality from our partnership network.
That's really great. I know there must be many challenges that you must have faced while setting up this company. So if you can just walk us through some of them, like what were the biggest challenges that you have faced while setting up this company and starting this whole thing from a scratch?
Yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting one because it depends how you perceive challenges, doesn't it? Because I probably, like people on this channel that listen to your podcast, they're probably all people that are trying to achieve something, right? They're professionals, they're high performers. So to see something as a failure is, or to as a challenge, is almost like a bit of a dare. And it's like, okay, how do we overcome this? So it's tricky sometimes to look back, because often our biggest challenges have led to our best success in hindsight and through the lessons that we've learned. But the main challenges, I think, were in the beginning. It was the first time my husband and I coming together to run a business. So that had obviously some unique challenges, because I do think that business is a team sport. I learned that from one of my mentors. Um, Business alone can be very tough, and it can be very tiresome, and it can often lead to burnout. So as soon as you can get a team around you, the better. So the big challenge for us in the beginning was understanding, how do we work together professionally as well as be husband and wife. That came with some challenges, but also understanding, what do our clients really need. Like I said earlier, we understood it from our perspective, but not necessarily from the market perspective, and being able to really understand what do they need, what language are they using inside of themselves to be searching for a solution. So we had a lot of trial and error in trying to figure that out. So that was a challenge in the beginning. And then just experimenting and trying out all the different sweet spots. I think sometimes that feels scary and like a challenge. What if nobody shows up to this thing I'm going to do? Or what if nobody buys the product that we launch and things like this? They're very obviously common challenges. But it all comes down to, I think, the way we choose to face them, right? And knowing that it's going to be tough at times, and that there are so many uncertainties. It's all a risk, it's all a gamble, and that you just got to keep showing up and be consistent.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice answer. You need to be consistent in what you are trying to do in order to achieve the success, or in order to achieve, rather than success, in order to sell the products that you are trying to make, right?
Yep.
So coming to the same thing, like as you mentioned, you are trying to sell the products in order of a consulting or from well-being. So do you think organic marketing can itself be sufficient for the same, or sometimes we need to go with the ads and other things? So any thoughts on the same?
No, I think organic old-fashioned marketing still has a face in my eyes. It still has that as it's where the gold is. I think we underestimate the power of like in-person networking, for example. Yes, we can do lots of things online now, and that is fantastic, but at the same time I think people want to be around people, and I don't think I knew that in my early days as an entrepreneur how important network really is. Which is why I value our network so much, because without them, we probably wouldn't have seen a lot of the success that we have. A lot of the clients that we work with, they come from referrals, whether that be organizations or whether that be individuals that we work with on the coaching side. So I think just old-fashioned networking has a lot of value, but I also think there is a lot of value in understanding the future of marketing and really understanding that, you know, we are in the era of personalization, we are in the era of technology, and if we're not automating things and we're not using AI in our business, then we're missing a trick. So I do like the old school ways, but I think we have to make sure that we're doing both in parallel.
That's great. So how are you guys using AI in your company?
Oh, great question. So we're at the moment we're using it in three ways maybe. So first of all, we're using it from an operational perspective, right? So certain tasks, like writing captions for our own podcast and things like that, it's easy enough to just let Gemini or ChatGPT obviously help us to do that once and get the bones on it. So simple things like that. We are using it within personalization for people that come into our business ecosystem. So, for example, if somebody's listening to this and they want to understand how stressed they are, for example, they can go onto our website, they can do a scorecard. That scorecard will share with them a bunch of questions, and then the questions that they are asked are based on the ones that they asked before, and the results will obviously all be computed, and then you'll get your own report. So that's another way. And we're actually now looking at it from a productization standpoint, and we are actually beta testing at the moment our AI coach. So we are training our own AI to be able to work as a coach in your pocket. So if you are somebody that is stressed, burned out, overwhelmed, you don't know where to start, and you maybe you don't have the ability to be able to reach out to someone, or maybe you can't afford to reach out to somebody, or there's some fear or there's some shame around that, which is very, very natural. You can simply like download that and you can just ask it whatever you want, and it will be as if it's me coaching you. Which is fascinating to me. I'm not a big tech person at all, but I will learn about the things that I think are really important. And for us, a big part of our mission for our business was to always make sure that coaching is affordable and accessible for everyone, no matter where they are. And we have been on a journey with our coaching business where we haven't always been in a place where we've been able to do that. So I'm very, very grateful that now we're in a place where we can create something that is a form of giving back. And it is something that, again, I wish I'd had back in the day when I needed it. So that's been hugely profound for us, and we're getting great feedback so far. So if anybody's listening to this and they want to come and test it out for us, you're more than welcome to. Just send us an email, and we'll set you up, because all the feedback we can get, the better, to make it even better for other people. So that's the three ways we're leveraging AI. I'm trying to think if there's any other ways, but I don't think so.
So as you mentioned about this product, so it is still in the development phase, right?
Yep,
Yeah, so that
it
will
is.
be great once it is launched. It will be great to test it and see how it is performing with
You can
events.
you can literally test it out now before we launch it if you want. We won't charge you anything for it. We literally just want to get as much feedback as we can, so that we can make it better. So maybe you ask it a question and you think, oh, that's just giving me the same answer back or something like that. We're in that stage, right? But then the next conversation you have might be the best coaching conversation you've ever had. So at the moment we're ironing out the kinks.
That will be great. In order if once it is launched, we will be happy to integrate it the link in this video description and to promote it well.
Cool. Thank you.
So, as a business owner, and since you have gone through all those challenges that you are solving it right now, do you think it is necessary for founders or entrepreneurs to have gone through those problems that they are solving right now, or they can work on something different as well? Is it necessary
No,
to?
I think no, I think you don't have to go through all the trials and tribulations of every problem you're trying to solve. I think there's a special energy around people that do. They bring something different to the table. I think there's just almost this thing you can't put your finger on. But at the same time, if it's a founder that isn't very personally connected to the problem they're trying to solve, they must have a very strong reason why they are doing it that is way bigger than them and their bank account and just feeding their own kids, for example. Like, it needs to be more than that. I truly believe that anyway, for at least longevity within a business. Now, I'm sure there are many examples of people that don't have big personal attachment to the problems they're solving and very successful. But I just think the people I know, at least, and the people in the accelerators I've been part of and my community of entrepreneurs and founders, is that the ones that do, they seem to enjoy it more. And when they enjoy it more, they are more energized, they're more creative, they just seem to have a different buzz around them. So I guess it depends what you want from business, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's great. So, what is the importance of community or the people that surround you? Like you have just mentioned, you have a community of entrepreneurs surrounding you, right? There are many
Yeah.
people who think they can work alone and then they can achieve the success. But at the same time, there are many people who say it's the people that surrounds you is what influences you, right? So, what's your take on this?
Yeah. Well, I used to be the person that thought I could do everything on my own. And now I'm the person that just raves community. So it's been quite the journey. So for me, and this was something that actually led to my own burnout when I was working for an organization. One of my biggest strengths is the ability to be able to take responsibility and to be able to get things done and to follow through and to really take action. And that's fantastic if you've got boundaries and if you've got limits. But for a lot of entrepreneurs and for a lot of people who are driven and are self-starting, we think we can do it all. But actually, that ends up slowing us down in the long run. Now, fortunately for me, I didn't have to do it all alone from the very beginning. I did have my husband was part of the journey, but I would still try to take things on by myself or just us together. And sometimes even that in itself needed that bit more, because community is something that we not only do we need to feel good from our own well-being perspective, we need to hear different people's perspectives so that we can learn and to grow and to be able to regulate our own nervous system. But we don't know everything, right? We don't know what we don't know. And I think for me, especially in the beginning, there was definitely perhaps some arrogance there that I did have the capacity that I could learn all of it. And I very quickly realized that, I really don't care about how this link is linked to that link on our website and things like this, right? I'd much rather be having a conversation with somebody like yourself, Utkarsh. So it's really interesting to me that when we actually start to play with others, not just within our team and like build our own team, but when we have other founders around us, it highlights what we're good at, it highlights what we enjoy, and that moves us forwards in our business. And it's like an acceleration. One of my mentors always says that environment dictates performance. And I really believe that, right? So proximity is power, as Tony Robbins says, and it's one of those universal truths. I think that when you get it, you get it. And you understand that actually, if I'm surrounded by people who are not doing very well in business or are still at the very start of their business, I'm never going to be able to move out of that startup phase. So if I get around people who are earning the money that I want to earn, who are building the same kind of community that I want to build, I can learn, I can understand, and we hold ourselves to a higher standard. And I think that is where the gold is. And I think it's necessary. And I wish I'd known it sooner. And I wish that I dropped my ego long before I feel like I did. I'm sure there's still work to be done. But ultimately, I think that's probably been one of the most powerful things, getting around other people that are up to something in the world.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that's how this channel also started. Like it's all about community, having more and more people from different professions sharing their insights. So I was expecting this answer from you only. So that's really great. Just a last question on today's conversation. I'd like to ask you: do you think social media has impacted the burnouts, or it has increased or decreased? Means, what's the impact of social media on the wellness of the corporate people? You can say.
For corporate, we're still in the earlier days when it comes to social media. LinkedIn is very much still now a bit like Facebook was 10 years ago. So you get a lot of organic reach. People from organizations spend a lot more time on things like LinkedIn now. So there's a lot of opportunity there for sure. But other platforms, they're very noisy now. There's a lot of information. Every other account is a coaching account or a wellness account or something like that. So you just have to be very careful, I think, now as to what are you watching, what are you consuming, why are you being attracted to perhaps this person and what they are talking about, and it can honestly be a bit detrimental, I think, for some people because they don't fact check things, and they'll see something on social media when it comes to wellness and they think, well, that must be absolute truth, and they'll go and try the thing and it might not be the right thing for them. So I think we need to take a responsibility for the way we consume social media as consumers. And if I know that I need to do that for me, I also know that our customers need to do that as well. So that's a big part of it. Is it being is what you're viewing credible? Fortunately for us, obviously what we do is very credible. We've been doing it for a very long time and we've got quite an established audience now. So we don't have any problems with it. But if I was a new entrepreneur coming into this space, I would probably find it hard to break through some of that noise. So you need to do something that's going to make you stand out for all of the right reasons. And lastly on this, as an entrepreneur, we have to be very careful as to how much time and effort we put into social media as an engine for your business. Like we spent in the early days of our business, we spent a long time trying to post certain things in certain ways and posting this many times a week and doing it like this and holding the camera like that, or posting a reel over there and a carousel over here. And we would almost play those games to some extent. So we thought that's what we needed to do. And it just wasn't. It was completely the wrong strategy. It was a waste of time and energy. It helped us with brand awareness in the beginning. It definitely helped us figure things out. But I didn't know, or we didn't know, the context of social media in the bigger picture of our business. So there should be multiple entry points for people finding your business, not just social media or one platform. So I think that's also just a bit of a blind spot that I still see people fall into today. Is like they're stressed out because they haven't posted this thing or they haven't made enough content. And it's like, whoa, hold your horses. How many clients do you even get from your Instagram feed, for example? Is that even the right platform that you're supposed to be on? Maybe not. So for us, we use, as an example, Instagram is almost like a business card. People can go there, they can find us, they can learn about us. They've got the links there to be able to take the conversation further or to come and use a lot of the free resources we have. And we use it to distribute credible, helpful content through our podcast. That's it. It's all we use Instagram for. Every now and again you might see a picture of our cat on stories just because he's extra cute that day, but that'll be it. Whereas in the past it would be, got to post this thing, got to do that, and it just started to take too much priority in the business when it was completely uncalled for. So it's just I think a very junior mistake to make that I would hate somebody else to make. So if you're listening to this and you're a founder or you're an entrepreneur and you're in the rat race of social media, just pause and zoom out, look at the other things that are important within your business.
I totally agree with you on this point. I have seen this a lot. That's why I asked you this question. Like many entrepreneurs or many new founders or self business owners, they are running after social media in order to get more followers or in order to think that more followers can give them more business, right? But
Yeah.
that's not true, really. That's why I asked you this question. I think you have just answered it pretty clearly and in an easy way how to overcome this and how to have a better solution for it. So thank you so much, Charlotte, for your
Exactly.
insights on the same.
It's quality connection, right? That's what we want. We're always looking at what is the quality that you're adding and what meaningful connection are you making. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Simple.
I totally agree with you on this. Thank you so much for sharing your insight with us. It was really a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for coming again and for your insights.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. You're such a sweetheart, and I really appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.